achieved during the journey of research as well as teaching. So in today's talk, I'm going to share whatever little I know about the sustainable practices regarding waste management. So basically, these outlines will be covered during the presentations, and it will be around what is waste types, sources, impacts, what are the Indian scenarios regarding the waste management and associated problems, waste management practices, some success stories, and what is sustainability and SDGs to tackle the all the environmental problem, including waste, and way to move forward. So let us start with waste. What is waste? Everybody must be aware about it. Any unwanted materials, any unusable materials that have no further use, that can be referred as waste. But is it really a waste? We have to think on that, whether it is a boon or bane for the human society as well as our ecosystem, including Mother Earth. So, in some illustrated way, we can say any material which is not needed by the owner, producer, or processor, that can be referred as waste. In other words, we can also define it any unwanted or unusable material, substances, or byproducts which is of no further use. So, by looking these pictures, we can understand more better. So everything which is not of further use, so that can be referred as a waste material. So these are the general types. Most of the people are aware. They are knowing what is the waste and what are the classification. But on the basis of four major categories, matter on the basis of degradability and environmental impacts as well as source of their generation, we can categorize them. So, first one is based on the matter. So, waste might be in the form of solid, liquid, as well as air. Because which is, if it is not of having any kind of positive use, definitely it will have some negative impacts on the environment as well as health. So, it may be a solid, it may be a liquid, it may be some gaseous emissions which are not good for the human health as well as environment. So similarly, on the basis of the nature of its degradability, whether it is compostable matter or non-compostable, so we can again divide it into two types. Biodegradable, for example, food waste, any kind of organic waste, and non-biodegradable waste, which is most commonly we can say plastic waste, that is not easily degradable into the open environment. So on the basis of environmental impact, we can categorize them into hazardous waste as well as non-hazardous waste. Hazardous waste are having four type of characteristics. So if any of those four characteristics, if even one characteristic is present in any kind of materials, that can be referred as hazardous waste. If it is not, then can be referred as non-hazardous waste like food waste. So similarly, on the basis of their origin, their generation, we can categorize them household, which is very common, industrial, radioactive waste, electronic waste, medical waste, nuclear waste. So these are the some sources. Mining industry, agriculture sector, industries like textiles, plastic, chemicals. Then household, commercial and government bodies, construction and demolition, wastewater treatment, because the wastewater treatment systems may generate huge amount of sludge. So that is again going to become a challenge for the waste management authorities. So these are the some common sources of generating waste materials in the in our surroundings, or you can say the environment. We can see this slide as per the CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board of India, and the report has been published in 22 itself. The electronic waste, these are the quantities of electronic waste which have been generated in the year of 1718, it was around 7 lakh tons. In 2018-19, it was 7.5 tons, lakhs tons. Then in 1920, it was 10, then 2020-21, 13 lakh tons. And till 22, it has become 16 lakhs tons. So we can see from 17 to 22, around 5 to 6 years, it has become more than twice. So the problems we can understand by looking this statics, and if we will not take the strict actions, we will not change our behavior, definitely it is going to become a problem for the whole environment, whole ecosystem, including human beings as well. So as per the University of Michigan, these are the some common composition for the waste materials at the global level. So we can see the most of the waste related with the paper waste or food waste. So food waste is a kind of biodegradable waste. It can be used, it can be developed in. We have edited one book with Elsevier, and we found several researchers are working on the development of nanomaterials and having the widespread applications using this food waste. So we can see this. First, we have to avoid the food to be wasted. If it is wasted somehow, we can use it further. At least we can convert it into the compost matter. So similarly, paper waste can also be recycled. So if we can tackle these two, then we would be able to manage around more than 40% of the waste materials. So that is what the apprehension during the discussion of this kind of composition of the waste materials. Now, the impacts of waste, will be surprised to know that it will affect all the sections of all the fragments of environment, whether it is air, water, soil, as well as human health. Not only human health, it is whole living creatures, whether it is animal, whether it is microbial, biodiversity, everywhere it is going to create a problem. So we'll discuss again how it is going to become a problem for the whole ecosystem. We can see the air pollution can be created if it is burned by as a open burning. So then it may emit greenhouse gases, hydrocarbons, dioxins. So that is going to create a problem for the quality of air. Similarly, for water pollution, BOD, COD, biological oxygen demand, several types of toxic heavy metals, some other nutrients might be present during the waste that will go into the water, and it will create water pollution. Similarly, soil pollution, pathogenic microorganisms grow very rapidly. We can take the example of malaria. It is a vector-borne disease, and vector is mosquito, which there was a time when WHO declared India was declared as free from malaria. Now again the malaria come back because of the resistance power developed in that mosquito, Anopheles. So that is the scenario. The waste material that contains water and it will stay for the long time, that will support the growth of vectors, various types of vectors, and that is going to create several types of diseases especially among the nearby inhabitants, whether it is human beings or other animals. So these are some basic problems which can be created by the waste. Now, if we are burning the municipal solid waste, it may have some toxic metals as well, because we don't know the segregation of waste material have not been done. So it may contain some kind of toxic metals and other acidic materials. So that per the research paper, these are the some common materials that can come after the burning of municipal solid waste. Municipal solid waste means household waste, which are being generated from our homes. So now we can see these are the some problems: headache, fatigue, respiratory diseases, cardiovascular disorders, gastric problems. Even sometimes it has become cancerous if it is associated with the radioactive and nuclear waste. skin problem. So these are the some problems which are especially reported in case of human beings. And plastic. If we talk about the plastic, it has become a biggest problem, one of the biggest problem for the whole globe. Every country, every society is feeling like that. We have already surrounded by the plastics everywhere. So burning of these plastic, which we can see at least in India everywhere, the people burn tire, vehicle tires, plastics, and other things. And you will be surprised to know that it may contain several types of so toxic chemicals, and that is going to create so many problems, including cancers. Some problems, endometriosis, especially for the ladies, diseases, the neurological damages, endocrine disruptions, birth defects, child development disorders. So there are so many problems. Has not come into the world, but still the problem may occur because of the contaminated food as well as water intake by the expecting mothers. So, in nutshell, we can say these municipal solid waste are having some economical impacts, environmental impacts, as well as health problems, human health problems. Because we are very selfish when we talk about the health problems, we are confined to the only human health problems. Otherwise, it is going to create the health problem for the whole ecosystem, for all the living creatures. So the scenario of India, around 7.2 million tons of hazardous waste generation in 1 year. Every year, we Indians are involved in the generation of 7.2 million tons of hazardous waste. If we talk about the hazardous waste, this is very dangerous. We'll talk about little bit later in the coming slides. And 1 square kilometer of additional landfill area is required every year. The waste generation is increasing day by day, and we are in the need of 1 square kilometer of additional land every year if we are going to dispose of them. And in terms of money, it is around 1600 crore required for their treatment and disposal for these waste, if not managed well. So in addition to this, annually industrial discharges about 150 million tons of high volume of low hazard waste. These waste are having low hazardous categories, which is mostly dumped on.
Now you're audible. Actually, due to some network issue, it was not working.
No issue, ma'am, no issue. Thank you, thank you.
Thank
So
you.
sorry for the technical glitch. So these are the characteristics of hazardous waste. And there are four characteristics. Ignitability means it can catch fire very easily. Inflammability means the burning sensation to the skin. Reactivity, highly reactive chemical like HCl, H2SO4, hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, potassium cyanide. Corrosivity, that can have some corrosion effects on the structure, basically iron rods. So if any of these character is present in any type of waste, that can be referred as hazardous waste. If all four will be present, then it is very, very high hazardous waste, very, very high level of hazardous waste. So these are the four characteristics. It is very common and everywhere it is being asked. What are the characteristics of hazardous waste? Now we can see another waste. It has become up to the dangerous levels. Then it can also be considered as a very hazardous waste. This is plastic waste. We can see this slide. These are the top 5 countries which are generating plastics per capita. Per capita plastic waste generation as per the report of Government of India. So we can see US is on the top, 119 kg per capita plastic generation. Then 65 kg per capita. This is for Europe, 38, China 32, Brazil and India at the 5th place, which is 11 kg per capita. So these statistics shows us the level of the plastic generation, the management of plastic is going to be a problem for all of us. This statistics shows the mismanaged plastic waste, MPW, and we can see India is on the top. followed by China, Philippines, and other countries. So, as an Indian, we have to think on that how we can avoid the use of plastic, how we can manage these plastic waste, so that our coming generation can feel safe in our country. So there is some statistics which shows there are 8 million tons of plastic waste entering in the ocean every year. We are talking about the microplastics. So many plastic cans, plastic pouches, plastic bottles which are thrown into the rivers, into the sewers and gutters. There are some nalas. Then ultimately it is going to be mixed with the oceanic water. And it by the effect of water, temperature, and other environmental factors, it is creating microplastics. Maybe in the size of micrometer 10 to the power minus 6. So that is going to create problem for the whole marine ecology. Because the total plastic in the oceans is around 150 million tons. The plastic packaging accounts for 62%. Everything is coming into the plastic packaging. So that's ultimate reservoir is ocean. So it is going to be mixed with the oceanic water. In 2014, 1 kg of plastic in the ocean for every 5 kg of fish. If the fish weight is 5 kg, then 1 kg of around the plastic materials was there, especially microplastics, because it is tiny in the size, so it can be inhaled easily. Again, the plastics impacts on the health, environmental problems, and human health. So there are so many problems for in terms of eyes disorders, breathing problems, liver problems, because we are also taking this microplastic through our food, through water, because we do not know whether and how much quantities of microplastic is present in our food items. So problems in dealing with this solid waste, the education. Education is very important. Somebody has said already it is a weapon to fight with anything. So the education related with waste management, it is very, very less. And voluntary participation means we have to come forward without expecting anything, so that at least at our home we have to take care of these waste. So it should be collected in a best way. It should be segregated in the best possible way. Then it can be handed over to the authority so that technological interventions can be done. It can be recycled, it can be treated, it can be processed, it can be used to generate energy. So the technological failures, technological inefficiency has become a problem for this solid waste management. Institutional and regulatory framework, there is no any standards. There are so many problems. Those who are working with this management, solid waste management authorities, so their occupational health safety is at the risk. So we need to act on that. We need to do some more research so that some regulatory frameworks can be developed. Absence of mandatory standards again for the waste reduction, market action. Industries, corporate world should come forward to join the hands. How we can reduce our waste materials, how we can categorize them, how we can segregate them, how the technological interventions, how the technology can be developed, and how the funding can be provided by this corporate world as well, so that these problems can be overcome. Usually in India, the waste collection is being done by the city municipality. Municipal authorities are there. They are responsible for the collection of these waste materials. And some local rag pickers, Raddiwala, Kabadiwala, these people are also interested because they get some money. And there is no other means very popular in India to collect this waste. Either it should be, in our opinion, in terms of environmentalist, it should be at the home level. Every individual must be involved, because there was a meeting of the environmentalist and other scientists, and I was present over there. Somebody says, the director of environment, the coming time is only for the waste management authorities, because it is the hills of waste are increasing day by day. So we have to act fast. So how we can manage the waste? Which basically this is not one-time activity. This is a process. We have to collect them. We have to segregate them. We have to transport them. We have to treat them, and finally we can dispose of in an environmental friendly way, so that it is not going to create problem for the environment. ऐसा नहीं हो कि किसी एक घर से निकाला दूसरे के घर में डाल दिया, दूसरे ने तीसरे के तीसरे ने चौथे के, चौथे ने फिर फर्स्ट के घर में डाल दिया. So it is a kind of cycle. If we are throwing it in our surroundings, definitely it is coming back to us in terms of some problems. So waste disposal is becoming more difficult and costly due to the scarcity of land and energy, because it requires energy, money, and land. Because most common method is landfill method, which should be avoided. So it is going to become a big problem, and we are going to face more difficulty in the coming years if the technological interventions is not there. So these are some process: prevention, reuse, recycling, recovery, and disposal. So prevention is most preferred method for the waste management. However, disposal into the landfill site is the least preferred method. We can see this inverted this triangle pyramid. We can see the most preferred method is prevention. We should avoid to generate the waste as its source of generation. Then we have to act how to reuse those materials again and again. Recycling, processing of those waste to develop some new products. And this is what the people say circular economy. Means we are completing the life cycle of any material. It is not going to waste. If the life cycle of any material is complete, it is not a waste. It is not going to create some problem. Recovery, extraction of precious materials and other things, energy, disposal. Final residue can be disposed of. So the recycling, processing of waste them into the usable forms, it has been already discussed. What are the benefits? It will reduce the environmental degradation. It can provide some money. So some people can earn money out of this. We might have seen these kabaddi, like pickers, kabaddi wala and other things. They are very rich. Save energy used to waste handling and product manufacturing. So solid waste management at the municipal level, how it happens? Collection, maybe door to door. Public dustbin can be placed nearby to the colonies, and people will go and throw their waste over there. However, it is not segregated. If it can be segregated at their source, it will be good for the municipal people to process it, to manage it. But in our country, there is no, I don't know if it is there, but it is if it is existing, it is very, very few places of the India where segregation of the waste is being done at the home level. So transport, separate vehicles are required for the waste material. 5R concept can be promoted: recycling, reduce, reuse, recovery, and refuse. Composting, biodegradable organic waste can be converted into the compost. Energy in the basically in the developed countries, there are so many technologies because they are rich, they do not have any financial crisis, so they can derive energy using these waste materials. This refuse derived fuel, biomethanation, incineration, these are the some techniques. Then landfilling, this is the final options if it is there. If we do not have any option, we can reduce the volume of that waste and we can finally dispose of. Even in case of biological waste, separate types of dustbins are placed in the pathological premises and hospitals, so that these biomedical waste can be put over there and it should be treated by the technologies which is mentioned in the third column. Yellow color dustbin is designed for the human and animal anatomical waste. Incineration is required. Red color bins, tubing, catheters, IV sets can be put over there. It can be treated by autoclave. Blue and white used for the sharp material like needles, syringes, autoclaving is recommended, black material for the discarded medicines, cytotoxic drugs, and it can be disposed of into the landfills. Basically, the stages of waste management can be first stage waste generation, then second reduction, reuse, preparing for the recycling, storage, collection, transfer and transport, then final treatment. After the treatment, very less amount of the material will be left and that can be disposed of to the landfill sites. So these are the again some refined way. In developed countries, it is being used primary collection, then secondary collection and transportation. Third stage is transfer station. Then it will go for the composting if it is organic in nature. If it is inorganic in nature, then it can be used for the incineration, pyrolysis, and it can be used for the energy generation. Final disposal will be go for the landfill sites. Integrated solid waste management steps. Most of the developed countries using this technology so that the wealth can be derived to the maximum extent using the waste materials. And it starts with the waste reduction at the source, then reuse, recycling, waste processing using RDF and composting, waste transformation into the through the incineration for the volume reduction. The volume of waste is very huge, then it can be reduced by incineration, and that will give the energy as a byproduct that can be used for the further use. Then final disposal into the landfill site. This is again the ISWM stage. Again ISWM. So, what is the difference between dump and landfill sites? A dump is an open hole in the ground where trash is buried and where animals often swarm. They offer no environmental protection and are not regulated. Means openly we can dump here, there. Anybody who wants, they can go, they can come back. But a landfill site is designed by the environmental engineers, civil engineers, and it will protect by the free roaming of the animals, groundwater contaminations. So these are somehow can be protected. It is not 100% safe, but yes, it is always good as compared to the open dump. Then what is this landfill site? Basically, this is a sanitary landfill site. And it has been developed by the engineered way of the disposal of these waste materials. And after the completion, it will have some kind of capacity. Its age is around 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, depending upon the designing. And it has different chambers. And the waste material will be put over there chamber wise. Once it is full, then it will be capped by a soil cover and some vegetation can be grown on the top of that particular landfill site. So that's why it is known as sanitary landfill sites. It may also have some disadvantages, but comparatively it is far better. So this is a cross section of the landfill site. We can see two chambers are there. And the methane is also there is a vent which can release methane that can be stored and can be used as energy. At the bottom level, we can see a layer of concrete which can collect the leachate, which is a semi-liquid material which is generated by the waste material that can contaminate the groundwater. So that leachate collection system will collect that leachate and that can be treated, and after that that can be used for the irrigation and other purposes. So what difference between what are the advantages? Sorry, what are the advantage and disadvantage of the sanitary landfill site? Low cost. It is low cost, easy application, and it can have massive amounts as compared to the open dump site. And area can be replanted, as we have already discussed. Trees can be planted after covering the soil. Then it can generate methane, so that can be used as energy. Some disadvantages: leakage of air pollutants. If the methane and other gases cannot be stored, cannot be used in the form of energy, it will create some climatic changes, global warming. Then possibility of contamination of water sources. If leachate collection system and concrete layer is broken somehow, definitely it will create water contamination problem. So these are some success stories where like utilization of plastic waste in road construction in Bangalore, Hyderabad, use of plastic pavement blocks. These are the some flow charts how the plastics are being used for the construction of routes. Different processes are given. These are the recycling process of the different plastic bottles, milk pouches, cans, and other things, and how the materials can be developed, like apparels, films, this luggage, mats, shoes. These are the some materials which can be derived, which have been derived from the waste of the plastics. This is a process for the treatment of this plastic bottles, which we are frequently we are using. That can also be used into the and that can be converted into the threads, and that threads can be used for developing garments, especially the rainproof materials. So the process says the consumer can transfer, can hand over the waste material to the collection center. It will be applicable in case of the plastic waste, electronic waste in most common case, in most common cases. So consumer can hand over to the collection center. Then it will go again to the producers. Producer will extract like we are again it will go to the retailer and consumer. So the life cycle will complete. Then it is known as circular economy. Like we might have, everybody is having experience of if we have some old mobile phone, we can exchange that. So this is what the process. It will go ultimately to the manufacturer. That manufacturer will extract maximum material as much as can, so that that can be recycled, that can be again used to develop a new product. So what are the benefits of waste management? So it protects human health and the environment. Most important things. If we are healthy, everything will be good. If we are not healthy, everything will be gone. So it will have some healthy surroundings for all of us. It will also save the money because the cost of waste disposal and other things involved, creating jobs, green jobs. You can see now the era of green jobs. Then if the waste material will be managed very effectively, it will help for the economical development. Then it will also help into the helpful to the conservation of natural resources, mitigation of climate change, because we are going to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases. And again, most important, it will be helpful for the social welfare, for the society, because the quality of life will increase. So the government initiative, this government of India has already given some rules through the parliamentary discussions, and these are the rules effective in India for the management of solid waste. Solid waste management rules 2016, plastic waste management 2016, construction and demolition waste management rules 2016, ash utilization notification 21, battery waste management rules 22, e-waste management rules 22. So we can see 16 and 22, years 16 and 22 have become a major years for the providing some legal aspects of the waste management. How we can, how, what are the, what should be the plan for the effective management. And on the occasion of Independence Day of year 2021, Prime Minister of India highlighted the India's action on Mission Circular Economy. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, they have documented it now onwards, means 15th of August 21. From there, the journey has already been started. How to achieve the circular economy, how to achieve the mission of circular economy means we have to do some efforts to complete the life cycle of materials, so that byproducts can be developed in a minimum quantities. So that will be good for the human health as well as environment. Challenges. What are the challenges? As per the United Nations, we do have lots of challenges. Occupational safety. The people who are working, who are supposed to work into the waste, along with the waste management authority, their health is at the most risk. So their safety rules must be developed. Safety wearings must be developed. Proper guidelines must be followed. Lack of proper environmental guidelines. Most of the workers are not aware about the environment and its guidelines, how we can provide the safety to them. Extended producer responsibility. Consumers, we have to take actions as soon as quick we can. Active public participation. Social participations, producers means corporate world, consumers means we we have to act fast along with the society. Means all the stakeholders should come forward to join the hands so that it can be managed very well. So this is a video you must have seen. Somebody must have seen. This is a video of Satyamev Jayate. You can see there is a South Indian people person how he is managing waste.
The voice is not coming from the video.
Sorry, ma'am.
Sir, the voice is not audible of the
Voice is
video.
not audible. Okay,
No,
okay,
sir.
okay. 1 minute. Let
So
me take
first you have to stop sharing your current screen and then again share your screen, this one, the video one.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. It is actually
Okay, it is in within the slides. That is why.
actually he is trying to manage the organic waste that had been generated usually from the vegetable markets, fruit markets. So what he has done, he has created an ecosystem, artificial ecosystem, including insects, some cattle, some birds, and what they are doing, earthworm. So everybody is doing their own part, and ultimately it is creating a black gold, which is known as compost. And along with that, they are also creating some, producing some gobar gas. So that can be used as in the form of energy. So they are creating compost, they are generating energy, they are managing waste, they are providing green jobs to the various local people, and also they are selling some poultry products. So this is what the gist of this Satyamev Jayate part 2 video we can see, and it is available on the YouTube. So this is a sustainable way to the manage our organic waste, especially if we will be able to manage our organic waste. Again, it will be a great success for all of us, because organic waste is creating so many problems, because it is going to create some global warming. Emissions of methane and other things are coming after the decomposition of those materials. So it ultimately it is going to create climatic changes. So this is what the message. This is a very good video, everybody can see. So what is basically sustainability? Sustainable development goals. So the developing a capacity to avoid the depletion of natural resources for maintaining ecological balance in the nature. So if we have to make a ecological balance, we have to maintain environmental balance. So we have to take care of all these three, which are social, environmental, economic. That means every sustainability is having three pillars. So if we will take care of all of three in a equal way, so that then the sustainability will be okay. It will be sustained. Otherwise, if we will disturb any of these pillars, that will create problem for the environment as well as health. So sustainable development is basically we have to conserve the natural resources for our future generations as well. So the development should not be at the cost of future generations, needs of future generations. So this is what the sustainable development, and we can see in this slide. social and society and economy. The resource distribution should be fair. Not, it is not that resources, all resources only for the economical changes, all resources for the social changes. Yeah, social development, economical development, we can say. Fair distribution should be there. So similarly, society and environment should be livable. It should be healthy somehow. So this is what the message of this sustainable development. So SDG, everybody must be aware about it. In 2015, United Nations has given 17 SDGs that are also known as Millennium Goals we have to achieve by 2030. These are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and out of those, we can see most of the Sustainable Development Goals are related with environmental conservation activities. Rest are having the objective of reducing poverty, reducing the hunger level, protecting human health. So all are interrelated. So these are the 10 sustainable development goals out of those 17, SDG 3, SDG 6, 7, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17. These are the 10 sustainable development goals which can be achieved partially or completely if we are successfully managing our waste materials. So by doing one activity at large scale, we can achieve these 10 sustainable development goals. So these are some national mission of India. We can see it is again solar mission, enhanced energy efficiency, sustainable habitat, water mission, sustaining the Himalayan ecosystem, green India, sustainable agriculture, strategic knowledge for climate change. So if we have to achieve water mission, again the water contamination must be avoided, which are expecting to be happen from the waste materials. Energy efficiency. If efficiency can be increased, we have to generate more energy because demand, now the time of summer is going on, and we can see that demand of energy is very high as compared to the production. So the problems, energy efficiency can be achieved if the waste, some energy can be generated from the waste materials as well. So there are green India, again, waste free India, sustainable agriculture, waste material is going to create problems for the soil. So it is not good for the soil health. So again, we have to manage our waste, whether it is agro waste or other things. People, what the people do, they burn out the agro waste. This is absolutely wrong practice because after 10 years, after 10, 15 years, that soil will become barren land, non-productive land. We have to understand that. So this is what the resources equity. If we talk about the northern and southern hemisphere of the country, we can see the northern hemisphere country, they are very rich into the technology, but southern hemisphere like Asian countries, we are very poor technology wise. So the carbon emission is very high from the technologically developed countries, and they are using so much resources, high, huge amount of resources. So because of that, there is always a conflict. If we are having some treaty, some agreement, the developed countries deny, no, we are not going to sign. Like the Kyoto Protocol, China and US both have not signed. So this is what the scenario. The resource equity should be there. This is a story of Greta Thunberg, very great environmental activist, born in 2003 and started strike at the school at the age of 15 years, and she got famous, very famous in case of that, because this is a Swedish girl, and at the age of 15 she thought ki our future is in danger situation because of the climatic changes. So started some strike on every Friday, that is was famous as Fridays for Future, and subsequently this movement, or you can say strike, spread across the world, and the United Nations leaders called up that girl, you can come and you can discuss with us. She went in 2019 to the United Nations Assembly, and she started her lecture, how dare you. Means you people, the leaders of the whole world are sitting at the same place and you are going to spoil our future. Our means children. How dare you to spoil our future? So that was the most influential lecture by her, and because of that, she is very famous. And commonly we do very much aware about the basic segments of the environment: lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere, biosphere. Lithosphere, the soil part; atmosphere, gaseous envelope; hydrosphere is the watery part; biosphere, the sphere of all these three where the living entity is existing. So that is known as biosphere. So why I am discussing these three? Because we can have some apprehension. We can assume that their importance. Food we are getting from the lithosphere, hydrosphere. Without food, we may survive months. Without water, which we are getting from the hydrosphere, without water, we can survive maybe weeks, 2 weeks. But without oxygen, which we are getting from the atmosphere, not more than 5 minutes in any case. So now we can understand the importance of these layers, these environmental segments. We have to act fast. We do not have much time. Then way forward, public awareness is very important, because if the active participation of public will be there, every problem can be sorted out. Management of single-use plastic, best policy development to reduce the problem. Risk assessment at the level of society, economy, as well as environment. Identification of key stakeholders. What are the important stakeholders which can be useful to manage these waste? Search, suggest, adopt alternatives. What are the alternatives? What alternatives can be done? Like we are going by some road and traffic jam is there. So always we think on some alternatives. So some kind of apprehension must be there. Tax rebates can be provided for the best performing industry, institution, and organizations. If we wish to achieve the things, we need to give some temptations in terms of finance. So that could be an ideal activity so that we can achieve our objective. Project funding for the research. Yes, extensive research is always required, and it should come from the government as well as industry. Enforcement of the rules, strict monitoring for the circular economy principles. So these are the some points. You may also add some important points so that it can be achieved holistically. So solution of every environmental problem: change in our behavior. It should be started at individual level. Our behavior must be have some kind of thinking regarding the environmental conservation. Whatever little we can do. Tree plantation, it is very, very important. It is a solution of every environmental challenges. Public awareness and social accountability. If we feel our accountability, we can identify, we can recognize our power like Hanumanji. So that can be done in an easy way. But if we are in the ignoring mood of perception, you can say we are ignoring the things. Okay, let the people, those who are in danger, they'll see this is their own problem. Then definitely it will come to us again and again, because this is a holistic problem and it will come everyone to. So this is a very famous quote by the President of France, Emmanuel Macron: by polluting the oceans, not mitigating carbon dioxide emissions, and destroying our biodiversity, we are killing our planet. Let us face it. There is no planet B. So we have to accept this bitter truth knowledge, bitter truth line, and we have to move forward for a better future for our coming generations, for us as well. So these are the some publications. These all are online on the waste management only. So first one is the valorization of biomass waste for environmental sustainability. Second one is the green and sustainable approaches using waste for the production of multifunctional nanomaterials. Sustainable management of electronic waste. Biogenic waste enable nanomaterial synthesis. So I am a part of these books. You can see it is available online. You can go through the research papers. These are the 4 research papers on the various types of waste materials, which we could publish in the last 3 to 4 years. These are the SCI research papers. So we can have some idea, we can write, we can publish, we can contribute for the society, for the research, for the students community. So that will be good. If we are doing, if we are able to achieve even 1%, still it is a achievement and it will be good for our future. So save the planet, adopting the strategies to reduce waste and join the efforts to make the earth smile again. Thank you so much. Save environment, save humanity.